Also, I'm not feeling very well. I just woke up feeling really seedy and dizzy and kind of vomited, and my mother-in-law was like, "Oh my god, you're pregnant." And I'm like, I wish. And I've got myself ready from here, and then from about here I'm not, but that doesn't matter, you guys can't see that. And I can tell you right now, I'm not the first YouTuber to do that. Also, in my background, the lighting just wouldn't adjust. The camera just wouldn't adjust to anything, and nothing was working. So I'm just sitting on the floor, and I've got my 1950 door behind me, and I'm not sure what you can see on this side. So just mind it all, okay? So today's video, I wanted to talk about something that I've been wanting to kind of talk about for a while, and that's kind of solo parenting and my take on it and how I did it, and kind of my tips for those that are or about to become a solo parent. This is kind of coming off the back from my Throwback Thursday a few weeks ago, when I said that it was just me and Jaden for a little bit. And so I kind of learned a few things along the way and went through it all myself. When I say solo parenting, I mean solo parenting. Obviously things that I say in this video might be different for other parents that co-parent, share parent, share custody, and things like that. My experience, it was just me. Jaden's biological father wasn't around in the early days, so everything in this video is kind of advice and my take on being an absolute solo parent. So the first thing is coping pretty much on your own and having your support network behind you. I was very lucky that I had two wonderful parents that were on my side and had my back from day one, and I think that is the most important thing you can have. On top of that, pretty much all my extended family were pretty supportive of it. And then once I had Jaden, I then went to children's groups like Mainly Music, Plunket groups, a young mum group, and I made the best of friends. And I think just making those friends, having things in common with people, having people to hang out with in the same situation, all that kind of thing, it really helped me. So I really do push that you get yourself a great support network. If you don't have your family for any reason, make sure you surround yourself just with loving and caring people. Go to those baby groups and make friends. Just do what you can to have find people that have your back, and just know what you've been through, know what you're going through, people that you can feel open to talk to, people that are going to support you. So that is my number one tip. Tip two, dating. So I suppose I know, if you are on your own, you have all the right in the world to date, to find love, to be happy. The only advice I give towards this is make sure your child always does come first. So make sure they come first, as in you don't introduce that person to your new partner or who you're dating straight away, because you don't want your child to become attached and then they kind of have that sense of loss if it doesn't work out. Make sure the guy obviously is caring, nurturing, understands that your baby will come first, and that he kind of takes your baby as his own while he's around. That don't let him, it's sense, obviously do not let him be horrible to your child. Your child doesn't deserve that. Don't bring somebody into your child's life that is going to disrupt their life, hurt them, put them down, hurt their mum. Of course, never get with someone that's going to be hurting you. And yeah, just make sure your baby comes first, make sure your baby is looked after. I kind of dated a few people, they generally did not meet Jaden, and the few that did, it was kind of long term, I guess, or you know, I'd been with them for a while before they met Jaden. They cared for Jaden. One of them did not. One of them didn't understand that Jaden kind of came with me and that kind of thing, and so we parted ways because I couldn't keep palming my child off. He came first. So yeah, just make sure that you go out and you meet people, but you're a mummy first. Tip 3, off the back of tip 2, make sure you get time for yourself and go out. Make sure you have people around you, like your support network, that understand that you're entitled to that. I did have a few people saying to me, you know, you're a mum, you need to stay home with your child, and I did. I lived on my own with my child most of the time, and I was first and foremost his mother, and I was always there. But I needed a break, and I always saw that my friends that had partners, they went to the movies and out for coffee and shopping and had a night out, and the dad would watch Bubby. And what's the difference? That mum got time out, so why shouldn't I? Um, and so I kind of made a pact with my parents, and they had Jaden one night every month. Of course, there were boundaries. You know, I had him bathed and fed, handed him over to my mum, and I was back by 10 o'clock the next morning. I respected their rules because obviously they were grandparents and they'd had their kids, you know, and they wanted to live their life, which was fine. But by respecting that, they gave me my time to go and do what I wanted. So that was that really helped me, because being a solo parent, you get stressed, you get tired, you get emotional, you need some time out. And I found kind of just that once a month night out was really nice to have, and I'd feel refreshed in the morning sometimes. But you know, and I couldn't wait to get home to Jaden, and it would actually be weeks before I was wanting to do it again. You know, you have that one night away from your baby, and you're like, you go home and you're like, oh, I missed you, and I kind of felt quite settled for a while again before I just need a little bit of time out. Also, like my friends, you know, if I was ever asked on a date, or if another friend wanted to go for coffee, anything like that, I'd just ring them and say, look, could you have Jaden for an hour? And they were always too happy to help, and they knew that I needed some time out, and I was doing it on my own. So make sure you take time for yourself, but make sure you also respect boundaries for those that are helping you to do that. Tip 4. Tip 4? Yep, tip 4. This is my biggest thing. This is why I kind of left it for my last tip, is the subject of the father to your child. Now, I don't know what situation you're in. If you're watching this, I don't know what situation you're in. Obviously, if the father is violent, or there's other reasons that your child should not be around the father, then that's totally understandable, and you do what you have to do. But I hear so many, my lips are really chapped. I hear so many parents that are just like, I don't like the father, you know, and I don't like him, and he doesn't need to see my baby, and he wasn't around, and he doesn't deserve to. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter if they deserve to or not. You have to do right by your child. And this is something I always practiced. Right from the get-go, as soon as my baby was born, his dad did want to see him, and I just kept thinking, you weren't around, you left me, you know, why all of a sudden, you know. But my mum would say to me, just let him see him. Just let him see him, and it'll either go well, or he will get bored, because, you know, just some males don't care. But and so I did, and I let him come and see him, and honestly, we didn't see each other again until I think Jaden was 1. But I had done the right thing by myself and by my child. I had let him come and see him. I had taken the photos for my child to have when he gets older. I had just done what I thought was right. Every time that he came back wanting to see Jaden, I was like, yeah, obviously I was around, because he did not know Jaden. He never took Jaden. I was always around. My parents were around. And I was just doing what I thought would be good for Jaden. So then when Jaden would ask when he was older, I would say, yes, I let him see him. You know, I did everything I possibly could for you to know your father, and for your father to know you. I never once talked down about him. I would lie. I still do lie. If Jaden would ask about his dad, I would say, oh, he must be busy working, or he must have moved away to do something. And I would always say to Jaden, your dad loves you. He must think about you heaps. Just so then Jaden had that sense of, he had a sense of love, you know. He didn't want to feel abandoned, you know. Jaden has never asked why me and his father aren't together. I think he just naturally figures that we weren't together, you know, and that hasn't come up yet. But he's growing up, you know. He's 6 now, and in his head his father is, you know, just this ordinary person that is busy working and loves him and all that kind of thing. And I'd rather him think that, and I'm sure he does. Like, I'm not putting words in anyone's mouth. I'm sure he does, but I just wanted my son to know. He didn't need to know that his father couldn't really be bothered with him. That's just, you don't put that on a child's shoulders. So I never talked bad about him. There was never anything bad said. And right from the get-go, right from the day Jaden was born, I would whisper in his ear and tell him about his dad, because I didn't want any secrets. When I dated, I didn't want the child thinking that someone else was their dad. There was never any secrets. When I met Jono, Jaden automatically knew that that was his stepdad, or whatever he wanted to do. He never called him, we never forced dad upon him, we never did anything like that. And yeah, Jaden just knew when we got pregnant with Bentley, because I'd always been so open about the dad. He just knew that Jono was Bentley's dad and that he had another dad somewhere else. And that's the thing too, like, I think just doing right by your child, it doesn't matter how you feel. When his dad came back into our lives about 1.5 years ago, I told him, Jaden rules this, Jaden makes the decisions, and he was fine with that. So I would say to Jaden, do you want to see your dad? And he would say yes, so he would go. It doesn't matter how I felt. Sometimes Jaden would say no, and his dad was like, okay, that's fine. So far, that's still working. We haven't had any conflict. Jaden is starting to kind of not want to go more and more, but that is personal circumstances, and that is his decision. And so far, his father is dealing with that. We can go months and months. What was that? We can go months and months without hearing from him, and it just really annoys me. And then he comes back, and all I want to say is, no, you disappeared. You shouldn't be doing this. But I have to say to Jaden, he wants to see you, and it's up to Jaden. So I think I need to stop rambling, and I need to let you guys go. So those were my 4 top tips on being a solo parent. I'm sorry if it's all wishy-washy and kind of here, then everywhere, or didn't make sense, but I tried to explain it the best that I solo parented and how I found things. So if you have any questions or you want to know more, then please feel free to let me know. Or if you want me to go into more depth about certain aspects of my solo parenting, then feel free. Alright guys, bye.